students, families, faculties, trustees, and my own senior class of 2019. Thank you to those who have helped us arrive here today. It is a testament to the support which has guided us all along the way. Without the tools you have given us, we would not now be able to leave familiarity behind and stand here on the verge of everything with pride and anticipation. As we scatter now all over the country and across the world, please believe that we will take what you have taught us as we go, packed in our suitcases and pinned on dorm room walls, so that we will never be too proud to be a work in progress or too afraid to try. Thank you also from the bottom of my heart to this class, which I have had the great privilege of being a part of. You have shaped me as a young adult and given me a voice I never had before, although unfortunately you have not given me the words to say how much I love you. I may never have those. Although after this morning, our lives will become increasingly separated and we will continue to develop in different directions, what we have shared here in this school will always be valuable. Not because we are a family, or because it was easy for us to love each other and learn from each other, but because it was none of those things. I am most grateful for the struggles we have endured side by side. There are no others whom I would have rather fought with through heartache and homework and change. Although we will not be together like this again, I hope that, to quote Jack, you have many good days and face the battles as they come. It has been an honor to grow up with you. To the students staying here for some time to come, the young adults you see in front of you are graduating from a school which will not look the same when we return. As construction begins, I ask you to preserve the best qualities of Bishop Seabury so that even if 10 years pass before we come back, it will still feel like home to us. Treat each other kindly, even on your most difficult days. I know that you are nervous and scared and insecure. I know that, especially in high school, you're trying to navigate the responsibilities of adulthood with the constraints of youth. I can guarantee you that rumors and hate come from misunderstandings, envy, and lack of confidence. Remember that growth is sporadic and not necessarily linear. Give yourself time, accept the mistakes you make, and do not worry if you feel like you are still floundering for an identity. Every essay, math question, every fight, and every reconciliation with your friends will dictate your character. The measure of a person is not what they approach a challenge with, but what they take from it. Success is simply the act of failing at bigger and bigger things. What you can do today was impossible a year ago, and what you struggle with now will be nothing when you arrive where my class is, placing the last period at the end of the sentence. As we start a new chapter now, I want to say to the women before me that we are entering a world which has never promised to listen to us. We will be labeled as bossy, controlling, and cold, but those are misnomers for assertive, powerful, and focused from those who feel threatened by us. It is our duty to push back against a society obsessed with female obedience. Uplift your sisters who are not so bold as you yet, or not so privileged. Every woman out there is your sister. Take up space, speak your mind, and pursue everything they tell you we can't do. We must never compact ourselves down to the size society is comfortable with. The only way to repay the sacrifices of our mothers, grandmothers, and great-grandmothers is to build upon the foundation they have given us. It is our turn to enter the book of dialogue and tell the world femininity has never meant weakness, and that the word powerful is synonymous with woman. Remember that even if it is easy for you to be proud, across the globe there are women weighed down by their womanhood. Remember that they are your sisters too. Do not stop fighting when you are in the clear. Our heritage will be another stepping stone towards equality, so that our daughters, granddaughters, and great-granddaughters will have something as simple as making 100 cents to every man's dollar. And men. Teach the young boys sitting behind you here and following in your footsteps tomorrow what masculinity means. Show them that a powerful man is not afraid to be feminine, because femininity is not something to be ashamed of. You must be man enough to be vulnerable and dive into your shame rather than to lock it away behind a barrier of aggression and machismo. Have the confidence to know that you are man enough simply by being afraid, or being insecure, being able to love yourselves whether or not you fit an artificial ideal. All you need to provide for the women in your life is support and respect. Give us your attention. Be man enough to listen to our anguish and to believe us. Protect the women in your life by standing up to other men when you hear locker room talk. No, not all men are the problem, but all teenage girls are afraid to walk alone at night. Protect us by teaching your brothers to be better. Teach them that you are all already man enough. Everybody wants to rule the Everybody wants to rule the world. Well, now is our time. With the privilege of becoming today's leaders comes the responsibility of repairing yesterday's mistakes. The world being passed down to us is scarred and bleeding, and none of us has the right to look the other way. It is no one's responsibility but ours. In the face of constant tragedy, we cannot allow ourselves to lose our empathy or grow numb to hurt. As a dear friend of mine taught me, vulnerability is a double-edged sword. Although it is difficult to mourn for the victims of every tragedy, each fire, flood, shooting, it is our duty as citizens of the world to do so. We cannot turn off the radio when it brings us bad news and retreat into the comfort of our privilege to whatever degree that is. By being vulnerable to the deeply etched inequalities and injustices of the world, we understand what is necessary to combat them. Disregarding the existence of oppression ensures its continuation. To fundamentally change the state of our planet, we must accept the heartache of the newspapers and ensure that our actions have impact. If people tell you that your activism makes them uncomfortable, respond that their inaction makes you terrified. If you listen, you can hear the screams of a world so long overdue for relief that it has forgotten a time without suffering. The worst thing you can be right now is apathetic. But do not put hope into future generations. They will not even exist if we do not take action to ameliorate the state of our planet and our human existence. Young people have been the crutch that every wounded society leans upon. We must break the cycle of hoping our children can fix our mistakes. It is our duty to preserve our planet, to treat every human as a human with equal rights, and to be better for our children, because there is no other choice. In essence, we cannot be afraid of the failings grooved into the path ahead of us. We cannot shy away from betrayals and disappointments of our ancestors as if they are not ours to remedy. We cannot stop to bemoan the society we are inheriting, but rather we must mold the impurities of the material into the facets of our art. We must rush forward zealously into the vast, uncharted tomorrow, crying out, "I'm here, world, ready to love you clean again, ready to make you better. Even now, I'm putting my shoulder to the wheel."